What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing an anime last stand video, and I'm going to be showcasing the brand new Denji Godly right here, who is a dark hybrid with the subtype of physical damage. And as you can see, I have the glitched technique on him, as well as the glorious enchant. I also have the damage tree selected right here, and I have SSS rank stats on everything. And as you can see, his damage goes pretty high, and his cooldown is actually rather low. Plus, he has some pretty good damage over time, so we're going to go ahead and get right into the showcase. Okay, so here we are in infinite mode, and his first passive is actually what you're about to see right here. His first passive applies fear to all enemies within range upon placement. Now, his starting damage is pretty decent, and his cooldown is rather low. The VFX are honestly pretty amazing in my opinion. But moving on to his second passive, every 10 attacks, he will cycle between one of 4 different damage over times in order. Once he completes a full cycle between all this, he will permanently gain the rupture effect, and he will continue cycling through all these 4. Now, the first one is the hemorrhage saw, in which he will gain the hemorrhage effect, and he will deal 2.25 times damage with it instead of 1.3 times. And he will also increase his damage by 15%. Now, the bleed saw increases bleed damage by 2 times instead of 1.4 times. Now, for every enemy in range affected by bleed, he will gain 2% extra bleed damage with a cap of 30%. And in the next saw, the mutilation saw, it gives him the mutilate effect, and mutilate duration equals this unit's SBA plus 0.5 times. So, pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty, yeah, these saws are pretty good, I guess. Also, my bad if I'm like rambling. I haven't recorded a video in so long or done a showcase where I'm like actively sitting here talking to you guys and recording instead of just reading off of a script. So yeah, no, forgive me if I'm like speaking a little too quick or anything. Now, the last saw is the dismantle saw, and he gains the dismantle effect, and each tick drains 0.5 of enemy HP with a 25 billion drain cap. So all of them are rather decent. Yeah, the decent passives right here. Now, the third passive, every 10 attacks, he will quote-unquote eat a random unit in range. Upon eating a unit, he will gain 25% damage and the status effects of the unit I can't speak. And he will gain the status effect of the unit that he has eaten for 30 seconds with a cap of 2 status effects. And the eaten unit is stunned for the entirety of the duration, which is 30 seconds. If the unit does not have a status effect, he instead gains 50% extra damage. So if we go ahead and place down, what's a unit that has some status effects right here? Hold on, yeah, Asta right here has anti-magic. So, yep, we can see right here, Denji just stunned him and he ate him, and now Denji now has anti-magic, as well as another 25% extra attack. Now, the next passive, because dear god, he has a lot of passives. The next passive is that every time Denji attacks, he has a 10% chance to consume the enemy, dealing 1% of their max HP, which is a cap of 500 billion. For each enemy consumed, he gains 1% fear, which I assume is this bar right here. If Denji consumes more than 75 enemies of a specific elemental type, then he deals an additional 100% damage to that element, which that is a rather useful right there, rather useful passive right there. Now, the demonic fear is his last passive that we have right here. Now, he will gain the following buffs at each threshold, which by the way, it's referring to this demonic fear bar right here. At 25 demonic fear, he will gain 15% extra range. At 50 demonic fear, he will gain the despair effect. And then at 75% of the bar being filled up, every 5 attacks, he has a 50% chance to chain enemies in range, stunning them for 10 seconds. So that's rather useful. Enemies will also take a 15% bleed damage over time, damage during the stun with a 20-second cooldown per enemy. And at 100, and whenever this bar is 100% filled, like, 100 out of 100, he will gain 35% damage over time damage to all units in range affected by a bleed-related DOT, and he does not buff himself. So we're gonna go ahead and I can't speak. We're gonna go ahead and upgrade him all the way right here. Oh, never mind, because I forgot to upgrade this little piece of crap. Okay, so I'm back now. I just waited like a solid 3 to 5 minutes for him to get his demonic fear bar full, and as you can see, his final damage right here is 724 million right here. Of course, it can be increased a tiny bit if you get like if you get the what is it, Mystic Enchant or whatever it is. There's a few things you can do to make this slightly better, Now of course we're also only getting the 25% damage buff from whenever he eats one of your units. So let's go ahead and place down one that doesn't have a status effect right here. And he should gain 50% right there. Yep, and now his damage is well over, much higher than it was before. His overall damage, like from all of these different effects, is going well over into the billions on billions. And yet again, I do desperately apologize if I'm like speaking too fast or if I'm like, you know, stuttering a lot. It has been a while, and in all honesty, I was rather nervous to like record a video again because I really didn't have plans to keep doing this a crap ton. I plan on doing a few videos here and there, but like I didn't really have an idea of what to do because like I've been so busy with everything else. But anyway, guys, that is the showcase. The next video I make is probably going to be showcasing like Aki, Makima, and probably Power all in one video. Maybe I'll include Yoru just for the hell of it, just get another video out there. But I hope you guys have a great day. Good luck on the grind. I will see you guys next video. My name is